yoga mats packed, workshop materials packed, we headed off for our long drive from Cape Town to the Spiritfest venue in Sedgefield, Western Cape. And we decided to stay overnight in the beautiful Stilbaai on an olive farm, where I also got some writing done before starting the next day of the festival.
Wow.
We woke up to a beautiful morning in Stilbaai, and while we did have to leave early, there was enough time to take a little walk around where we were staying and spot this little guy.
He is a potato.
The garden route is one of my favorite parts of South Africa, and I was drinking up the views as we drove along. After a couple of dodgy Google Maps detours trying to take us on roads that haven't been roads since the 1800s, we finally arrived at our accommodation, an eco-reserve outside of Wilderness, and a beautiful solar-powered cabin with a lake nearby where we could do bird watching. We dropped off our things, hopped in the car, and 30 minutes later we were descending into the valley where Spiritfest's venue is, the Wellbeing Sanctuary. We had about 2 hours before the first workshop we wanted to go to, so we decided to explore the venue, find out where my workshop was going to be, check out the vendors, and get some food. I'm a sucker for a healthy treat, but I decided to go for some proper food with a freshly squeezed pomegranate juice, a lentil soup, and my mom got a green juice and an almond nut bar. My workshop was only on Sunday afternoon, where I was going to teach Sacred Haiku poetry for the teenage program of Spiritfest. It was time to head to our first workshop, which was Ground and Center, Yoga and Sacred Soundscapes with Hendrik and Marine. And it was the perfect introduction to Spiritfest. Hendrik's yoga teacher style was delightful, and I loved the music and sounds that Marine was sharing during the class. It was magical. Being day visitors, we then headed home to make dinner and closed the day with a beautiful fire. We were up bright and early to travel the rugged roads to Spiritfest Day 2. Our first class of the day was morning Kundalini Yoga with Ilana Fitz at 8:30 a.m. Ilana and her husband Anton are the owners of Shangri-La Center in Cape Town, which I've been going to since I was 18. I purposely didn't film any of the classes I took because I wanted to be present with the practice and not get stuck into filming everything. Next workshop was Heart Space with Deborah Bergh, which we expected to be more of a breathwork meditation workshop, but turned out to be heart-opening yoga. Our hearts were wide open by the end, but we definitely felt the effect of 2 back-to-back yoga classes afterwards. Now, you might expect that the Spiritfest vlog would just be me attending back-to-back workshops all weekend, but you know, the philosophy of Spiritfest is about tuning into our own bodies and our own energy, and my mom and I definitely felt like we needed a chill pill for the rest of the day, but not before getting some nice food, checking out some music in the lovely outdoor music area, and I went for a human design reading, which I've always been fascinated about, but didn't know much about. Turns out I'm a generator. We headed home to our accommodation for an afternoon siesta and emerged late afternoon to enjoy the sunset at the lake by our cabin, binoculars in the one hand, champagne in the other. For the bird watchers in the audience, we saw some red-knobbed coots, stilts, Egyptian geese, and some teals. Now for some sunset bush sounds. Workshop day, workshop day, workshop day. I woke up feeling excited to finally teach my session on Sacred Haiku poetry for the teenage program of Spiritfest. Spoiler alert, it did not go as I had expected, but what did happen could only have been made by the divine. They say praying mantises are a good omen and about widening your perspective to the 360, and oh boy did that happen that day. I arrived 2 hours early to set up my workshop space and embark on some gutsy self-promotion before my 3 p.m. session. I think I already had a gut feeling that I might have a problem. Not only did I have an unusual workshop topic, but it seemed that after 2.5 days of Spiritfest, people were tired and even leaving for home already. Hi, here at the Earth Zone 10 Spirit Teams at Spiritfest. My workshop is going to be starting in like 35 minutes, and I've set up my affirmation cards and oracle cards section. You know, we pulled some bales of hay to make a lovely circle, and yeah, ready to share this beautiful space with people. And I was very bold and stood up on the stage, the music section, which you would have seen previously in videos, and announced that people must come to the workshop. So yeah, gonna wait and see who turns up. Unfortunately, at 3 p.m, nobody arrived, and I wondered if my mom and I would drive home crying after a failed workshop. But I decided I would fight for my workshop, no matter how uncomfortable, no matter how bold, no matter how humble I needed to be. I sent a message to my Spiritfest presenter WhatsApp group asking for their help. I walked up to anybody that I could find outside the tent asking for just 2 people to run my workshop. And eventually I walked up to a new friend of mine who was teaching Khoisan bow making in the same area that I was, and said to him, "Colin, nobody has shown up to my workshop." And he replied, "Nobody has shown up to mine." Another poet, I invited him and an amazing woman named Sarah's son to join the workshop, and they said, "I'm coming." Let me tell you, Sarah's son was a ray of sun. She brought a candle and a smudge stick to my yoga mat and created a real altar. And I truly believe it cleared whatever needed to be cleared to call in more people to my workshop, because within 15 minutes I'd received a message from another presenter saying that her and her daughter were coming to attend my workshop as well. The good juju even worked for Colin, as 2 guys finally showed up for his workshop. So yeah,
So my poem is I flow with the winds of change. As my embers start to glow, so the fire of my soul remembers me.
Can I get a whoa for that poem? Now came the most unlikely, most incredible part of the workshop yet. We'd gotten to the last section of my session, where we would write poetry from the heart and the spirit, inspired by music. And what would happen at the same time as Colin's 2 workshoppers whipped out guitars that they started tuning. And we said to each other, why don't we just invite them to come over and write our poetry based on their music? It truly was Zen meets San, and by the end of the workshop we were hugging each other and feeling so blessed to have shared this space with each other. I know I felt that way. Driving home that afternoon, I thought about the last few days and all of the people that had touched me, as well as the people that I had touched. And so I'll leave you with one of my haiku poems. There is a resonance between us that has yet to reveal its nature. If you enjoyed this vlog, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and my Substack blog, Soulful Women Club. I'll see you there. Bye.